Story is Julius, the Baby of the World, and I'm going to put my teacher hat on and read it to you. And I'm pretty much going to follow this lesson plan. And what I did to prepare the lesson, to plan for it, is I wrote down, you'll see the questions on the second page. I went through and I wrote each question on a sticky note so that if I were to read this to children, which if you get a chance, you can try it out, I would ask those questions along the way. And there's 3 parts to a read aloud, and it's really easy to remember: before, during, and after. So before I read, I put those questions on the back of the book, and it's okay if they see that, that's okay. And then during reading, I'm going to ask questions. So before we read, we predict, what do you think this will be about? Who do you think Julius is? High-level questions along the way. And then after we read, I'm going to ask you a high-level question, a why question, and then we're going to do some vocabulary development. The reason they do vocabulary afterwards is before you read the book, you kind of don't have a clue. You may not have a clue what the words mean. But if you've read the book, you have some context, and that's important. That you've read it, you can kind of make a connection back to clues in the book. So the authors that have come up with text talk, and it sounds like text talk, but it's text talk, believe, and I agree, that vocabulary is best learned in context. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to put on my teacher hat, and y'all are 3rd graders. Okay, so y'all are well-behaved 3rd graders. Okay, so I'm going to read the back of the book to get you started. Boys and girls, we're going to hear a fabulous story by one of our authors we've been reading, Kevin Henkes, and you may remember that we've read some other stories by Kevin Henkes, like Sheila Ray the Brave, and who remembers Chrysanthemum, about she didn't like her name, and she learned to like her name. Oh, good. So if you think about that author, you know that he likes to write about little creatures like mice and things. Here's our author, Kevin Henkes, and I'm going to ask you a question before we start this book. Do you think this story is fiction? Do you think it's made up, or do you think it's nonfiction information? Fiction? Why do you think so? Let me show you a few pages for the story, and if you have an idea, raise your hand. That's how I'll know you're ready to share.
They're mice.
They're mice? Okay, and mice really can't talk and have story-like lives. What else? Why?
Mice don't wear clothes.
Mice don't wear clothes. Okay, good. Generally they don't. Yeah, okay. So, Julius, the Baby of the World. Here's my question. What do you think is going to happen in this story? And you all have a copy of the text, so you can look inside. Let's make a prediction. All good readers make predictions before they read. What do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? Anybody want to volunteer?
She's not going to like her baby brother.
She's not going to like her baby brother. Why do you think so?
Because the front cover, she's trying to scare me.
Okay, she's acting ugly. We can tell from the pictures. We draw a conclusion. Good. Any other predictions, readers? So you use the pictures to make your prediction.
She's going to get in trouble. She's going to get in trouble.
Good.
Ah,
okay, so you think she's going to get in trouble because she's in a timeout, and that's what happens when we get in trouble. We go to timeout, and we're unhappy about it. Okay, good.
She's going to act out to try to get attention.
Why do you think that?
Because she feels like all the attention's taken off of her and all on her baby brother.
Okay, good. And you might ask as a teacher, have you had a baby brother? And then you might spend a very short amount of time talking about that, because they'll tell you stories, and you have to nip those in the bud sometimes. All right, so let's get started with our story. So you can follow along in that shared reading with our story, Julius, the Baby of the World. And I have some questions I'm going to ask you as we read. Since you have a copy of the text, you can follow along, but during a read aloud, you'd always want to show everything to them. So I'll model that, even though you have a text. Before Julius was born, Lily was the best big sister in the world. She gave him things, she told him secrets, and she sang lullabies to him every night. I have a question. How can Lily do these things before Julius was even born? He's there on the front cover. How do you think she can do these things? What are you thinking? She's singing to the belly. Good thinking. Let's keep going. After Julius was born, it was a different story. Lily took her things back. She pinched his tail, and she yelled insulting comments into his crib. "I am the queen," said Lily, "and I hate Julius." But her parents loved him. They kissed his wet pink nose. They admired his small black eyes, and they stroked his sweet white fur. Lily thought his wet pink nose was slimy. She thought his small black eyes were beady, and she thought his sweet white fur was not so sweet, especially when he needed his diaper changed. "Julius is the baby of the world," chimed Lily's parents. "Disgusting," said Lily. Here's a thinking question. How does Lily feel about her little brother? And how do you know? How did you know that?
Just the way she's looking at him in this picture.
Her look on her face. What else in the text told you she does not?
She said, "I hate Julius."
She said, "I hate Julius." Yeah, where was that?
Oh, it was at the bottom of the.
Ah, hate is a strong word.
And
Yeah.
she, in the response to her parents saying Julius is the baby of the world, she says disgusting.
Disgusting. So, as an aside, we're engaging in text talk. We're referring back to the text. We're not just saying things because we think so. We're revisiting the text, which is very powerful. Lily had to share her room with Julius. After Julius goes away, "Do I get my room back?" she asked. "Julius isn't going anywhere," said Lily's mother. And he didn't. He stayed and stayed and stayed. Lily was supposed to be very quiet while Julius slept. "After Julius goes away, can I talk like a normal person again?" she shouted. "Julius isn't going anywhere," said Lily's father, and he didn't. He stayed and stayed and stayed. "We love you, Julius. You're beautiful, Julius. We want Julius to grow up to be as extraordinary as you," said Lily's mother. "So we must tell him constantly how beautiful he is and how much we love him." When no one was looking, Lily had her own idea. "I hate you, you're ugly." A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. "We want Julius to grow up to be as clever as you," said Lily's father, "so we must sing him his numbers and letters whenever possible." When no one was looking, Lily had her own idea. 3, 8, 1, 5, 9, 6, A, J, K, Z, B, S, C, H. Although I don't think that would mess him up too much, but all right. Lily's parents were more than a bit doubtful about leaving the two of them alone together. Lily tried to frighten Julius with her nifty disguises. She learned magic and tried to make him disappear. When that didn't work, she simply pretended he did. 2 of this lesson I'm going to do next week. I have the vocabulary cards. I was throwing them around earlier. You can go ahead.